From This Corner with John Ball is brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM, The Word. Good morning. Welcome to From This Corner. I'm John Ball, and I have Steve Roark with me. Steve is a spokesman for Faithful Friends Animal Advocacy, really is what it says on the webpage. Right. Steve, thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about Faithful Friends.
Well, if we didn't have them, we'd have to invent them. They are the animal shelter in Newton County. They take in all the dogs and cats that people cannot find some other home for. They've been very successful at doing this. They take literally care of hundreds a year there at Faithful Friends. They're countywide, Newton County and McDonald County. So they provide an incredible service for this corner of Missouri.
Now, this is no fly-by-night deal. There have been people working on this since 2008, and the facility, which is right down the road from us, was actually completed in 2015, and that took a lot of private money, a lot of donors, and certainly a lot of volunteers today also, doesn't it?
It does, and the responsibilities never go away. I just drove by there this morning on the way out here, and there are 3 cars there taking care of feeding animals and cleaning cages. They do this morning and night, and then, of course, they're open during the day for adoptions. So it's quite a community effort to make this all happen.
And speaking of community efforts, this thing doesn't run for free, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, and you all have the Faithful Friends thrift store, and I understand that it contributes mightily to your budget, but you have a fundraiser coming up this Saturday night. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Well, we try to do 3 or 4 fundraisers a year. This Saturday night is a new one. We call it Pawject Runway. What will happen is we have a number of our volunteers and a number of our folks that work there at Faithful Friends will be modeling outfits. Most of those outfits come from the thrift store there in Neosho. You'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't, that there are some very nice clothing dropped off there at that thrift store. So all the models have been outfitted in those different clothing items, and we'll also have select dogs and cats that'll be there on display also. And those that will cooperate will actually be led around at the event.
Well, now, I thought about that for just a minute or two, and then I thought about the old show that had let the cat in the door, and the dog took off after him and went across the table and tore up all of the things that were on the table and knocked down drapes and things like that. Is there a chance that could happen?
Well, this may provide entertainment for us. Right now, we've got it scheduled for them to lead certain dogs and cats around or carry them in cages. But we don't know what's going to happen. So it'll be a fun event, all in good humor, and it'll be a nice time.
Okay, now what time does it start and where is it?
It starts at 5:30 at the Civic there at Neosho. That's this coming Saturday night. And we should be done by 8:30, easily 8:30, 8:45. We have a very nice meal from the boardroom in Joplin that's being catered. It's very well organized. I think people will be impressed with this first effort.
Okay, now people come in, and I understand that there are 14 tables already sold. Is that right?
We actually have 16 sold.
16,
yeah.
Okay.
So we've done very well on that. We do have a number of individual tickets left. The individual tickets would either be for $100 for the meal and everything, or you could buy a $25 ticket just to simply attend the fashion show and to participate in our dessert. I think we've got like 8 or 10 different desserts that are being made for this event. They'll be excellent. And so that's what we have going on right now.
Now, you say there are 3 or 4 of these events a year. What are some of the other events?
Well, they normally have a wintertime event, fundraiser, a spring event. Those events happen kind of when they get around to getting them scheduled and stuff on things. They have a constant need for money. And, they adopt a lot of animals out there, dogs and cats. But, all the food that goes to those animals, all the care that goes to those animals. It takes a crew of about 3 full-time people out there just to literally run the shelter. That's not the volunteers and the others that help clean it and take care of it and feed the animals. That's just our director. We have a lady that's on staff that's kind of a vet tech to take care of animals that need medications. So it just is a constant drain on their resources. The community has been very good about stepping up and helping. We're kind of the only show in town, quite frankly. Our friends up at Joplin, they're Joplin Humane Society, do an excellent job also, but they're primarily in Jasper County. We operate down here in Newton and McDonald County, and we have a great need down here, a great need for animals to be adopted.
As I remember back in 2008, this actually was kind of started to kind of help the city of Neosho's dog pound out and see if there were some things that they could do to bring it kind of up to snuff and do a better job of taking care of the animals. And about the time this started, then the dog pound was shut down.
That's the history of it. And I'm personally hopeful that we'll get both the county and the city of Neosho more involved with this facility, because quite frankly, if it didn't exist, they'd be spending many, many tens of thousands of dollars to run it. And for example, Joplin, I can't remember exactly, but they're in the literally over $100,000, a couple $100,000 a year to run the animal shelter up there, and that's what they would have to pay to get this stuff done if they had their own facility.
Now, we should let people know that if they're interested in adopting an animal, there's a fee involved, but there's also some other fees because you all take care of them from spading to neutering to worming to making sure they get all of their shots and things like that. So if someone comes and wants to adopt an animal, it's going to have all of those things already taken care of.
Yeah, and you can't find an animal and properly take care of it for less than that. You can't. You can't go to the veterinarian and get them spayed or neutered. You can't go and get their shots for them. That's all included in the adoption process there at Faithful Friends. And, the good thing is that when we have an animal leave, they are spayed or neutered. We're not creating more problems out there in our county. So it's just a very worthwhile organization. I have been involved with it for a number of years. I watched Leanne Williams and Carol Mayer kind of build the groundwork on it, and now Sandy Dermot Duncan is there with stuff, and we have others that are just devote their lives running that shelter, and it's truly a labor of love.
Now, if somebody is interested in an animal, or they want to know exactly what the fees are, they want to know exactly what kind of shots they get, first thing they need to do is go to FFN Neosho at yahoo.com, right?
That'd be correct and stuff. And you can also call the shelter out there. Kara Marshall is the director out there, and Kara can tell you all about how it all works. And just stop by. And, they have the cat room there. You can walk in there. If you want to go in and play with the kittens, you can go in and do that. You can certainly walk down where all the dogs are and take a look at them. It's just an interesting thing to watch this. It's a large operation. They'll have 50, 60 dogs in there at a time. They'll have 30, 40 cats in there at a time. And, of course, those are all cycling over and over all the time. Some get adopted, and then we bring in other ones. So it's just a constant process. So
getting a tour of the place is not out of order.
Oh, no.
We can do that at any time.
They're so proud of it out there that they love to show it off. So just, call and or stop by. I mean, you don't even just stop by and there'll be someone there to meet you. There's always 2 or 3 people there working full time, and they're happy to show you the facility. They're proud of it. They've spent a long time working to get this facility to where it is right now.
Well, now, if you're one of those people that feels like, hey, maybe I've got a couple of extra bucks that I want to spend in order to take care of some animals, you don't have to wait for these 2 or 3 events down the road. You can go back to that website, you can hit the donate spot, and it'll be taken care of by then. Or you can call 417-592-2512, and there's someone there that'll be more than happy to help you to show you how to make a donation. And it is 501c3, am I correct?
That's correct. So these are charitable contributions. You can, leave a message if someone's not there. If it's after hours when you call, leave a message and they'll get right back with you the next day. And consider adopting a dog or a cat Certainly don't go and buy one from some breeder. Just spend your time and do a little research, and you'll find that these animals out there are the healthiest. They're going to live the longest, and when you adopt them, they're the happiest. So.
Okay, now once again, this particular event, what's the name of the event?
It's called Pawject Runway.
Pawject Runway is going to be...
It's actually not project, it's Paw, P-A-W.
Pawject, okay.
Pawject Runway.
Okay, I see.
It'll be a fun thing, and we'll feature our workers and others that are volunteers out there as models. And once again, we have the dogs and cats being led around. That itself may become quite the entertainment of the day.
It sure could. And it starts at what time?
It starts at 5:30 on Saturday.
5:30 on Saturday.
And we'll have a very nice meal and have the fashion show and some socialization, and that'll be the evening.
Now, the shelter is open on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 4. It's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, but then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's open from 11 to 6. And there's always someone there that would be more than happy to answer any questions you've got, give you a tour of the place, show you some of the new dogs that have come in, right?
They can, and some of the animals I know the history of, some they do not. My wife and I just adopted another dog the other day, and we've been looking at her for the last 6 weeks' time, and you could not ask for a sweeter animal. The folks out there work with them. They even know some tricks when you get them, but they're all socialized. And they make very, very good pets.
Okay, Steve, thank you for coming by. We appreciate it. And anybody, as we said, would like to have more information, they can either go to that website, which is FFAA Neosho at yahoo.com, or they can call out 417-592-2512, or come on down 86 Highway, just down here a little bit north of the radio station, and pop in, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. And they could also go by the thrift store if they'd like to buy a ticket for the event this weekend, or they can go by the shelter there and buy a ticket there.
All right.
So, and you can buy a ticket at the door. It's fine. We're going to have some extra meals placed and stuff, but if you've never eaten at the boardroom, you will enjoy this. It's a very elegant meal. It'll be a good time.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, Steve.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
From This Corner with John Ball has been brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM, The Word. You can watch this episode and many previous episodes of From This Corner on our YouTube channel, linked to our website at www.kneo.org.